3, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Retro Radio. This is the Carcast after USC's big 26-21 win over the Iowa Hawkeyes at the Coliseum. We're going to give you our thoughts about the game and so much more. As always, you can follow us on social media at Random Troy. Email us, randomtroy@fansite.com, and our phone number, 818-643-7227. Second What's Bruin Show. I'm your host, Michael Castillo, joined along with my co-host here in the Radio Studio in Los Angeles, Alicia Artola.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. What a interesting turn of events, huh?
I think that USC is 1-0 when you and I watch the game at 32,000 feet.
This is true. Yeah, you and I watched the game in the air. I will say 90% of the game in the air. There was part of it we had to track on our phone because we lost connection. Then we had to go back and watch part of it, but we have watched it. SC gets the big win. Alicia, take it away. Tell everybody your thoughts and how you're disappointed again in another great second half performance from SC, because you are, of course, the
hateriest hater that ever hated.
Yes, that's you.
Yeah, that's me, apparently.
Take it away.
I mean, I was disappointed by that first half. It was a really not fun first half performance from USC. USC's defense looked about as bad as they've looked all season. And then they went back to the locker room, got a little bit of that the Space Jam juice or whatever, and came out like a totally different team after halftime. This is now a trend for USC. If it happens once, it's, whatever, it can happen. If it happens twice, it's like, okay, you're starting to build something. But when you do it this many times in a row now, USC's defense has proven that they are definitely a second half defense, and that they come out of the break, and whatever it is, whether they're adjusting or getting their heads right or settling in or whatever it is, whatever USC's doing at the halftime, with the halftime break, with the between the coaches and the players, whatever it is, it's working. So let's hope they can keep doing that. Let's hope that they can keep finding a way to replicate that kind of second half performance, because that kind of defense, I know it's Iowa and their offense isn't all that great, but like, we saw what Iowa's offense could look like against a poor USC defense. The one that came out in the second half was so different, especially when you consider that by the second half, there were a lot of guys down. Kamari Ramsey had gone down. Bishop Fitzgerald had gone down. Kennedy Urlacher is in there. They've got Kendavius. I'm forgetting his last name, but he's getting thrown in there in place of Kamari Ramsey, and the DBs are getting hurt. It was such a weird second half, especially because USC's defenders were dropping like flies, and the next man up mentality was very much in play, and guys were out there stepping up into the spotlight, put into a difficult position and making plays. I mean, it's Kennedy Urlacher who pushes the receiver out of bounds on that fourth down play. It essentially seals the game for USC. A guy who hasn't gotten a lot of playing time this year and was thrust in, and one of the first interactions he does in this game is just laying the wood. Absolute just monster hitter out there on the flat. So sort of good to see him respond to that opportunity in a way that, I think part of my frustration this season has been, against Illinois, it was like, oh, Kamari Ramsey was out, and so that explains why the defense was so bad. But on the other side of things, we've seen, Kalon Miller and King Miller step up for the offense. We've seen Tobias Raymond have to come in and move positions and take over at left tackle for Elijah Page again. We've seen guys go down injured and guys come up and do just as good of a job, if not better of a job in some cases. And we were seeing that on offense and not really replicating that on defense. And I think that what we saw today was absolutely replication of that, a proof of concept that when USC has the right approach, the right formations, play calls, setup, mentality, that they can get as many stops as they want against an offense like Iowa's, which is certainly not one of the best in college football, but they are a much improved offense this year. They are a formidable running team, and Gronowski is a capable veteran quarterback who knows how to make plays. So this was not going to be like an easy task for USC's defense, and we saw that in the beginning. We saw them sort of fail the test very early and then shake it all off. And I think that that's my big takeaway from this is sort of the mentality question. Lincoln Riley and a bunch of other of the players were calling it like a culture win. And I think they're right to call it that. I think this was a game that could have easily gotten out of hand. It could have easily turned into something where USC's defense goes, here we go again, the way that a lot of fans, myself included, were saying, here we go again. With the offense, it could have been, we're behind now. The defense isn't going to get any stops, and just sort of, lay down and die offensively, and especially in that kind of weather. And they didn't. The offense stepped up. The defense stepped up. Ryan Sayeri came out and took care of his piece of special teams. And it was really a complete team win. And, we got picked up from the airport by my dad. And we were talking to him about how this feels like, I think you could make a strong argument that this is the best win of the Lincoln Riley era. And I say that mostly because, obviously the Notre Dame win of 2022 was a huge one. The UCLA was a really fun one in 2022. Like, there have been other good wins, but it feels to me like this was USC's most complete win, where it wasn't an outsized contribution from one side or the other. It wasn't one side or the other scraping by and the other one sort of having to pick up the slack. It was all elements of the game, all aspects of the game in the second half, coming out and responding to being down and picking things up in the second half and rolling with them. The quarterback played better in the second half. The running game was better in the second half. The wide receivers started making absolutely insane plays in the second half to keep USC's drives alive. The defense started responding in the second half. I think that right before we came back on, we were watching the drives that we missed, obviously, because of the internet being what it was on the plane, which was pretty decent until we got to the last couple of drives, the last half of the fourth quarter. But watching that last defensive drive for USC, it's like Anthony Lucas is all over the place. He follows up the forced fumble with, getting in there on a run stuff, getting in there with pressure to force the throw high on that fourth down. Like, it was just nice to see these guys who we've been waiting for them to make their big impact sort of come out and find a way to do that in a way that we haven't seen this season. The last time that we saw USC have to get a stop in order to win the game, arguably, was Illinois, and we saw what happened there. We saw them not be able to get the stop, and it was the complete reverse outcome in this one, where it did come down to USC's offense having to go out there and score to end it. The defense gave USC's offense the opportunity to go out there and kill clock in a way that that I don't think that the balance has been the Randy asked, do you think this was a better win than Michigan? I do, because I think Iowa is a better team than Michigan. I think that Iowa is a more disciplined team, a more veteran team, a team that knows more about who they are and what they're about this year. And those kinds of teams are really difficult to beat. Like, it's really hard to beat teams that know what they're about. in a way that I think that Michigan is still figuring themselves out. So yeah, I would say that this is the best win of the season, arguably the best win of Lincoln Riley's career, and career at USC. And I think it showed. Like, we didn't get to see it live, but watching back, his reaction to that penalty that essentially ends the game was hyped as we've ever seen him. He was pumped, and everybody on the sideline was pumped, and it was kind of cool to see everybody look that, thrilled, knowing that that finally they'd put in a really satisfying win in a way that I don't know that they've been able to show for this season in a really tough situation against a tough opponent like this. So yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I thought this was a hell of a win for the Trojans. I gotta be honest, I don't think that I was ever truly concerned about SC's chances in this game.
See, you were a different person than me, because down 14-0, down 21-7, you weren't worried.
No, and
your meds are working way better than mine.
I was saying in one of our group chats, like, it's fine. And part of it is just, you look at SC the last few weeks. They've been so good in the second half. And yes, I understand why the Northwestern game, why you could, I don't agree, but like I could understand why you were focused so much on the first quarter and not the last three quarters, right? And the Nebraska game, how a lot of people were frustrated that like it felt like Nebraska gave SC the game or whatever, but both of those games played out just like this one in so many different ways, right? Like this really goes back to the Illinois game, and since the first bye week, SC on defense has not been consistent. But when they need to get stops, they get stops. Like even going back to the Notre Dame game, like yes, they gave up 300 yards on the ground. That's atrocious. They got the stops in the second half when you needed them to get the stops for SC to get back in the game. And then the special teams let them down, right? Like in the second half at Notre Dame, SC holds Notre Dame to 4.4 yards per carry. After 4.4 yards per play after 8.9 yards per play in the first half against Nebraska. Mind you, obviously this is affected by the Dylan Raiola injury, but like first half, Nebraska's at 5.8 yards per play. Second half, 3.4. Northwestern, I'm pulling it up here. Northwestern, first half, 6.1 yards per play. Second half, 4 yards per play. Iowa today, first half, 6.8 yards per play. Second half, 4.9 yards per play. And it's not just that the defense gets tighter in terms of yardage. 0 points from Iowa in the second half. 3 by Northwestern. 3 by Nebraska. Notre Dame ends up scoring 20 points in the second half, but like 14 of that is against the defense. 7 is against the special teams. Like the last 3 games, they've allowed 0 touchdowns in the second half. And, Robin Murdy mentioned in the chat that like not a lot of I was surprised we didn't lay down when we were down 14-0. I understand this, and I understand like the pessimism of like, SC struggling to come back from, not necessarily struggling to come back from games, because this is the point I'm going to make, but like SC struggling to win games consistently. But you look back the last 2 seasons, even when SC has been, the team that they have been and losing games on the road and all that kind of stuff. Look at last year. Wisconsin. The Wisconsin game, they were down big in the first half, and they roared back in the second half and won that game going away. Washington, they were down in that game by double digits, and they came back to lead the game in the fourth quarter. Texas A&M, They were down big and roared back in that game. This year, Illinois, they're down 14 and they take the lead in the fourth quarter. Nebraska, they're down and they come back and they take the lead in the second half. Like, SC has that in them. And I think that makes it all the more frustrating when you have games like, and really you got to point to last year, because like we talk about the PTSD effect, and I understand it, but if it wasn't for like this year in and of itself, like the issues aren't completely there. Like the Illinois game was that they just couldn't make a stop on defense all game long, outside of getting two sort of fluky fumbles. The Notre Dame game was that they couldn't stop the run in the first half, and that put them behind the 8 ball, right?
Well, they couldn't really stop the run in the second half either,
but it wasn't quite the same. They held them to 4.4 yards per play in the second half. You will take that against Notre Dame any day of the week. Well, what I'm saying is, like, the issues that we talk about SC in the Lincoln Riley era, they really haven't done this year nearly in the same rate as they had the last two previous seasons. And I think the two seasons in 23 and 24 are so seared into everybody's brain that, like, I think it does add sort of the doubt there. And then when, you know, they perform like this against Iowa, especially in the second half, which essentially the way SC played in the second half against Iowa is how they played against Michigan. A game in which they, you know, that was sort of the 60-minute game, if you want to talk about that. But, like, it just proves, I think, a little bit further that, like, this team is better than I think a lot of fans give them credit for. Is this a national championship team? No. But, like, I think they're a pretty damn good team. And I think that this is a team that is proving themselves to play as the metrics say, which is something that we've talked about for so long, that every single year, SC in the metrics is somewhere between 13 and 18 in the metrics. Mm-hmm. But SC doesn't finish there. In 2022, they outperformed those because the defense was really bad, but the offense was incredible, and they had Caleb Williams as the Heisman winner, right? 2023, the defense was real bad, and despite the offense being good, they probably performed more closely to what they should have been the year before, given what the metrics were saying, right? Last year, they just didn't win all the close games that they probably should have won, or at least should have coin flipped all those close games. And they didn't win those. They didn't have the 9-3 record that the metrics said that they should have had. And this year, they're playing true to what the metrics say this team is, which is a top 5 at worst offense and a defense that is top 50, and on their day, they're a top 25 defense. And when they're not, they're a team that's like 100th ranked defense, and that will kill you. But it averages out to be a top 50 defense, and you put those things together, you're going to win your games more than not, especially when you play as well as at the home as the Trojans do, which is pretty damn well. And like to show the medal and to come back and all of that stuff and to dominate the game in the second half, I think it says a lot. And I think that, like, to go back to last week, like, this was the same game in so many different ways.
Yes.
As the Northwestern game, which to me just further proves the point. Like, this is one of the things that we talk about. Like, is this a blank? Is this like the Nebraska game? Did they just luck out or whatever? And we talk about how they have to pay it off. This is them paying off the Nebraska game as not just being a frustrating game, right? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, I think that this is one of the weird things about the reaction to my supposed negativity is like...
Supposed?
No, I think people think I think this is a bad team. I was negative because...
Did you hear yourself?
Yes. I was negative because I look at this roster and I don't see a reason why this team doesn't play up to this level more often.
Yeah.
I look at this roster and I don't see a reason why this team can't replicate this performance on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's me holding USC to a higher standard than others do, or that is fair, or whatever it is. I have looked at this team the whole time, and my skepticism about them has not been about what they're capable of. It's about what they put on the field.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what USC has put on the field this season and last season and just in the Lincoln Riley era has been too often what we saw in the first half. And that's why, I think it's perfectly fair that people do the here we go again, because how many times have we seen teams come out in that first drive and absolutely just cut through USC's defense like a knife, like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating to see, because then you turn around in the second half and it's like, no, there's the guys making plays like they're supposed to. There's the guys who are being put in the position to succeed and then going out and doing that. I think that's what I find frustrating about all of this, is that yeah, I think what you saw today from USC is what you should expect to see from USC.
But it's what you've been getting.
That's the thing is this is what you've been getting over the last 3 weeks, and it's been a great progression from this team to bounce back from the Notre Dame game, to win on the road at Nebraska, to then take the blueprint of that Nebraska win and expand it out to a better win over Northwestern, and then take the blueprint from both of those games and turn it into a win over an Iowa team that's better than either of them, that's significantly better than Nebraska and Northwestern.
Yeah.
So it's gratifying to see USC do those things. I'm also not going to sit here and say that we can ignore the fact that USC's road performances have been not at this level, and that there are still questions about this team. And I think that's perfectly perfectly fair thing to ask. But I think this game is not about the road question. This game was about the quality opponent question, right. And USC passed. I mean, they spotted Iowa a lead, and they won't be able to get away with that against Oregon. But the thing is that USC is again sort of set back up into the question of, okay, you beat Purdue, you got your road win.
Yeah.
Then you go against a more quality opponent on the road and you laid an egg. All right. You turn around and you beat Michigan handily at home. Good win, really quality win. And then the next week you go and play Notre Dame and sort of fall into the same traps that you had fallen into before. Okay.
Notre Dame's a top 10 team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying, but again, my problem with that game is that Notre Dame was gettable in that game. You come back, you come back on the road, and you gut out a win over a Nebraska team that, while not an elite team, that Nebraska team under Matt Rule certainly is. I think the three teams that USC has played, Nebraska and Northwestern, certainly. Iowa's a tier above them, but Nebraska and Northwestern's the surprise here, but this is big facts considering what they did to Michigan today. Yeah. Teams that play hard, teams that are not these are not cupcake wins. These are not every team in the Big Ten is going to come out against these teams and come away with a win. These are difficult opponents, and USC managed to go on the road against Nebraska and get one out, and then come at home against Northwestern and put their foot on the throat in a way that we've too rarely seen them do, and then turn around and apply all of those lessons to Iowa. The question now is, can they take the quality opponent, figuring it out on defense, offense coming through against a really good defense, and finding ways for their sort of superstar players to make the big plays that gets gets one over on a really good Iowa defense. These are the things that USC will have to be able to replicate if they want to go and beat Oregon, and they need to find a way to replicate them on the road in environments where we have seen them play, a step, if not two steps below their level. So it continues to be a very interesting progression for this season, as far as passing a test, failing a test, passing a test, failing a test, passing a test. that kind of progression that USC is making, you can only sort of keep climbing the mountain if you keep getting up and keep taking those steps forward and doing what you can to build in some progress. And I think that this was definitely progress. This is a game that USC loses last year for sure. I think last year USC probably plays Iowa just as tough with last year's team as they did this one. They played Penn State tough. But I think last year's team doesn't get the stop defensively or isn't able to close out the game offensively and getting the first downs that they needed to run out that clock. I think last year's team definitely lags in that event, and I think that's one thing that USC is 8-2 right now because they have learned how to win in these games that they sort of were troubled with last year.
Yeah.
The question now is, can they learn how to win the games that put them into the college football playoff?
I guess, and this is more of a big picture thing. I want to talk more about the game specifically, but like, you predicted them to go 7-5.
Yeah,
they're 8-2. They're not going to go 7-5.
No, they are above.
They are on pace to go 9-3.
They are on pace to go 9-3,
yes,
which I think would be a perfectly acceptable.
I'm just struggling to sort of see here how like everything comes back to like even after a win like this. Oh yeah, but they suck on the road, so like what does it really matter? Like
no. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not leading with that. I am responding to you talking about how they did so well against Notre Dame. They didn't do so well against Notre Dame.
No, I'm not saying that
like
they did well against
they just they didn't get the stops against Illinois. Yeah, it was really really bad what happened against Illinois. Like I don't want to sugarcoat anything.
I'm not sugarcoating anything. What I'm saying is this team is 8-2. Their two losses are by a field goal in a game that they trailed by 14 points. Didn't have their best player on defense in Kamari Ramsey. To a ranked team at the time, at least, on the road, a good team. We all think that Illinois is a good team.
Yeah.
On the road. It was a horrendous performance defensively, and they still nearly pulled it out of their ass, coming off of 2 straight seasons in which they haven't done anything on the road.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. They've done significantly better this season in all of those aspects.
They've answered the bell.
Yes.
Constantly this year. I understand, doubt going into the Oregon game, and we're going to talk more about this, obviously, in the Fallout episode, going into the preview episode and everything, but, SC's in a really good spot. Things are just...
This was a really good win that puts USC in a really good spot and puts USC in range to go 9-3. I think that's really a solid position for USC to be in.
Yeah, I think what?
Trojan Dale in the chat says Alicia realist. Notre Dame played terribly at home and we still lost. I mean, I think that, and I'm going to get accused of being too negative. And I wasn't coming into this episode expecting to have this conversation. I'm just saying, it's year 4. USC should be going 9-3. I'm not going to give them a cookie. I will give individual players cookies all day long about this. I have so many good things to say about so many players. I'm just saying, from an expectations perspective, this is where USC should be. This is where USC should expect to be. We shouldn't be surprised.
And you predicted them to go 7-5.
I predicted them to go 7-5 because I predicted them to disappoint me, Michael.
Well, they're not disappointing
They're not disappointing me.
But you're acting like they are.
No, you are projecting I'm acting like they are.
Okay. Anyways, we got super chats. Let's get to the super chats. All right. Irvine Cattle Ranch says, touch Trojans. I think he means touchdown Trojans. He did come through here and fixed it with a touchdown Trojans. Let's hit the drop.
Touchdown Trojans.
There it is. And then Vince in San Diego says, welcome back. Hope both of you had a great trip to fight on. Thank you. We appreciate you, Vince. We did. We had a good time and glad to be back. Glad to be able to watch the game on airplane Wi-Fi, thankfully.
I mean, I was honestly pleased with how stable the Wi-Fi was for most of the game. I expected it to be worse.
Yeah, no, I absolutely thought it would be worse.
So in that sense, I'm glad we only missed like 2.5 drives. We saw USC take the lead.
Yes.
It go up 26, and then it was after that things got real shaky. But like
the review on the Caden Weegan catch,
we got a
at one point, like it like glitched, like we got a little thing.
We just got a freeze frame of his foot on the white, and like that was after just like minutes of us just like staring, like, okay, is it gonna update the thing? Is it going to update the thing? Like, what's going on? And then Fubo finally loaded just the screenshot. It's like, oh, okay, he's out. So, you know.
But it worked out. It worked out. I want to talk more about this game. The first half, SC comes out in the game sort of not great on offense. They move the ball. They don't get a fourth down. They have to settle for a field goal before the half. They scored 10 in the first half. I think this is what I expected SC to be on offense. I was very good defensively. I expected that SC was going to score in the 20s. Potentially the low 20s. Like
settling for those field goals is as much a reflection of the quality of Iowa's defense as anything. Like, this is what happens when you're a really good offense playing a really good defense. Like, you're a really good offense, thus you get into the red zone, but they're a really good defense. They clamp down, and you might have to settle for a few field goals. Yeah. And USC's in a good position where, Ryan Sayre has been so dependable, even in, pouring rain.
Yes.
That when USC has gotten into field goal range, it's been fine, Mm-hmm. Like, for once, I'm not, having a heart attack waiting for USC to line up with the kicker. It's nice to just sort of like feel quite confident when Sayre goes out there. But obviously you want to convert those into touchdowns. But like, this isn't failing to score in the red zone against, I don't know, Missouri State or Purdue or whatever. This is Iowa's defense being really damn good.
Yeah, and really from jump, I think we saw that part of this offense was just, hey, we're going to trust our best players, and we're going to give them the ball and see what happens. And I think Lincoln Riley going with that, and Jaden Mayava trusting his receivers, was huge. There's 18 catches in this game by USC wide receivers. Only one of them not named Lemon or Lane. This is truly 2011 or 2005, where it's two dudes catching all the passes. And I feel bad for Tanook Hines. He had 2 targets in this game, but he's the McFoy. He's the Bryce Butler.
His time will come. Like,
yes, but he's the guy who just sort of has to, like, wait for the moment in which the other 2 guys have been sort of taken out of the picture. And in a game like this, Iowa was draped all over Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane all game, and they were still making tremendous catches. Mekhi Lemon, especially the one downfield where his arms are just like extended and the ball just lands in his hands.
There were 3 Mekhi Lemon catches that to me are just absolutely insane. There's the one that he's going
in the rain,
going to the sideline and just like somehow gets his foot down and also manages to reel in the ball on the sideline. There's the one where he jumps up and gets undercut and flipped and then still holds on to the ball somehow.
The touchdown.
And then the one that you were talking about where the it's like a fingertip reach out, like Willie Mays kind of catch with a defender all over him.
It sticks like a video game.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
Rain. Yeah.
Like, it seemed like it defied physics to me. Great performance for the receivers, especially as the game went on. Defensively, we talk about the struggles in the first half. I want to get into this specifically because, yes, Iowa comes out. They score touchdowns on 3 of their first 4 drives. The one that they don't is a 3-and-out, but 7 plays, 69 yards, 9 plays, 45, 9 plays, 75. they did it looking fairly easy moving down the field.
That first drive, they did it by passing, and it very much caught USC off guard.
And this is the thing that I think is interesting, because you had pointed out that you thought that the game plan from Denton Lynn was not a good one, but the adjustments were good.
Well, I have to assume that that's what was going on.
Yeah,
I wish I had a better explanation.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think the other thing is, I think that Iowa did a very good job, especially early on, in coming out with an attack that was not what we expected at all. You look at the like quarter by quarter statistics, 9 pass attempts in the first quarter. That's more than SC had in the first quarter. 6 of 9 was Gronowski for 65 yards. Jade Mayava was 6 of 7 for 32 yards in the first quarter. They threw the ball and dudes were open. And I think it was very much something that we were talking about, where like it was a stack the box situation where Iowa was taking advantage of SC sort of not prioritizing the ball downfield. And I sort of like, I'm not going to say I'm okay with that, but like, I would rather make Iowa throw the ball and beat you throwing the ball than anything else. They went away from that as the game went on, in part because they were able to have success on the ground in their subsequent 2 touchdown drives. And then you really saw the adjustments in the second half and the tightening that the Trojans did on defense. And it comes without Kamari Ramsey. Bishop Fitzgerald goes out at one point. I like frantically pointed at the screen at one point to you, like, look, DJ Harvey's in the game. It was one of those moments. I'm like, wait, who's number 2?
27?
2? Who's 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw dudes that hadn't been in there, and you saw guys sort of have their moments defensively and all band together in the second half. And really quick, I think that, you know, talking about Kamari Moulton, the running back for Iowa, kind of has a very similar game, I think, to Emmett Sanders from Nebraska, but also Komalafe last week from Northwestern, in that if you look at his numbers, it's not like he stops having success, but the offense stops having success because they end up getting behind the chains. They struggle to throw the ball. They become more one-dimensional. And when you do that, you can give up 5 yards a carry and it won't hurt you nearly as bad. This is sort of the same thing that we saw in ways slightly with Notre Dame in the second half, where they still averaged like 5 yards per carry, but CJ Carr was struggling to throw the ball, and so it made SC get stops more than they got in the first half. Or Michigan, right? Like, Michigan's running backs were still averaging 5 yards a pop, but Bryce Underwood was not consistent, and they were able to get him on the ground and all that kind of stuff, and that is what ultimately sort of dooms drives. And I think that's the key. Because when you let the run game, if you're not going to be an excellent run-stopping team, you need to find a way to contain it and get stops somehow and get them off schedule so they can't rely on the run. And when SC does that, they have a lot of success, and we've seen that in the last 3 games. We're like the running back has not stopped succeeding, but the offense has.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the things that you have to remember in college football is, you know, I think USC has continued to be vulnerable against the run. I think the big difference is in the second half. Like, it's like in the first half, vulnerable against the run equals 10 yards a pop.
Yeah.
And vulnerable against the run in the second half equals like 5 yards a pop.
Right.
Which still sounds bad, but if on first down you run and it's first, get 5 yards, 4 yards, then you're in 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5, and the opposing team decides to throw the ball, and they don't have a great quarterback, or not like an exceptional quarterback like the last three quarterbacks that USC has played. They're going to miss some throws occasionally. You're going to get through with a blitz occasionally. You're going to have a receiver drop a pass occasionally. You're going to just have those things happen that a team that doesn't have an elite passing attack will just sort of make those little mistakes themselves, and then you end up in a 3rd and 5, and you get the stop, or you end up in a I think USC even got like a 3rd and 2 stop where they just stopped the quarterback, like the keeper, and you give yourself a chance if you're not giving up those 10 yards of pop kind of thing, if you can just force the opposing team to become less efficient on second down. Like if you can be you want to be a good first down defense, but if you can be a good second down defense after limiting your losses on first down when the other team's going to run, then I think you can sort of find a way to have success against most of these college teams, I think that this is the game plan for Bryce Underwood. Like you said, this is the game plan for Gronowski. This is the game plan for the quarterback last week, whose name I'm forgetting, who just wasn't all that. Preston Stone.
Yeah.
Certainly the game plan once Dylan Raiola goes out for Nebraska. Most college quarterbacks aren't actually that good. I think that's what we need to remember, that USC has been very spoiled when it comes to quarterback play, and that to appreciate the level that Jaden Mayava is reaching, because most teams don't have a quarterback who's as talented, capable, or capable of producing the way that Jaden Mayava does.
Yeah.
You can't, if you beg USC to throw the ball, you're very screwed. If you're USC and you beg Iowa to throw the ball, they're going to hit some of those passes early on, but eventually they're going to miss. It's, you know what it is? It's like gambling.
Okay. We don't need to go into
It's
this
like
one.
gambling. You go in and you put your $20 in the machine or whatever, and you hit.
I wouldn't know anything about
and
this.
you hit like 5 in a row where you're just like, bam, I won, bam, I won, bam, I won, bam. Eventually, because of the way that gambling and statistics work, eventually you will return to the mean. This is why the house always wins. In college football, for defense, if you are playing a team like Iowa or Nebraska or Northwestern or Purdue or Michigan this year, or, name any one of the million good but not great teams that exist in college football, you almost just have to survive the wave where they execute well and give yourself an opportunity to let them sort of not execute well. Obviously, the issue then, the difference between being just like a middling college defense and like a really good college defense is that eventually you do need to play a really good quarterback and find a way to, to stop them that way. But it's baby steps for USC at this point. So
going into the numbers about the third down stuff, I think it's fascinating because I almost feel like this contradicts a lot of sort of what I was saying about Iowa not relying on, but basically that Kamari Moulton could have its success, but it wouldn't be impactful, in part because SC was stopping things other ways, and that's true. But I think the interesting thing is Kamari Moulton had 0 rushes on third down. And you look at the distance, the down and distance for all the third downs. In the first half, 1-7-5, 5-2-2. In the second half, 3-4-7-2-9. It's not very different. It was pretty much all the way down, pretty similar. They ran the ball twice they ran the ball with running backs twice on third downs. Everything else was a design run for Gronowski or a pass. And I think that when you sort of take away a little bit of the balance there, I think it helps. And then SC getting 3 stops in a row on third down. The first 3 third downs that Iowa faces in the second half. They don't get, and they go 1 of 5 on third down in the second half, all told. Like, that's the game right there.
That's how you win.
Like they weren't able to, continue their drives, and that's how you get your stops, and that's how everything sort of turns around, especially when you're finally having success on offense on your side of the ball. Let's get to a super chat. If this thing ever plays. There it goes. From Hokey P. Here's to a comeback win in the rain. Fight on. Yeah, big comeback win.
Here's to all the USC fans who turned up at the Coliseum and stood in that rain to watch that comeback win.
I have to say, I've got thoughts about this. A huge credit to everybody who was there.
Yes.
At the same time, I know that I tend to go on little rants about my frustration with SC fans in terms of like buy-in, attendance, all that kind of stuff. But like, there were way too many freaking empty seats. And like,
Michael, this is why I think you and I just need to give up on, like, I know that you and I have more or less given up on, I don't feel the need to defend USC fans at this point. Like, there's no defending USC fans. The ones who show up get all the credit in the world. Absolutely.
I was ready to be very upset that my dad didn't go to the game. And then he told me that he has a cold, so he didn't want to sit out in the rain. That made sense. I all clear. A senior citizen who has a cold should stay at home. I'm with that. But I get it. Nobody wants to be out in the rain, but like, look
but
at Iowa's crowd last week.
Opponent,
like, they were there in the rain.
Yeah, a top 25 opponent. You should have a full house at the Coliseum, and I get that. The weather was terrible. I totally get it. But you know, the fact is that this is USC fans. I don't think it's fair to use a blanket statement.
I think it goes beyond SC fan. I think this is the West Coast thing.
This is Los Angeles. Yes, absolutely. And I don't think it's fair to do like a blanket statement because we know so many passionate USC fans who were either at the game or would have loved to be at the game.
Yes.
And for geographical, financial, or circumstance reasons, could not be at the game.
Sure.
But like, this is just Los Angeles sports. I don't feel the need to defend the empty seats because there's no defending the empty seats.
Yeah. Tim in LA says there were a lot of empty seats, but it was a good crowd and it was loud, and the shirtless dude section got hyped for the last few drives.
And that's the thing is, like, again, it's where I will defend USC fans is the passionate ones are just as passionate as any other sports fans that exist.
Yes.
The issue, they're not the issues. The people who listen to this podcast are not the issues.
Yeah.
It's the people who are just more casual who don't feel like braving the rain because it's not that important, which sucks. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's what LA is like. So, you know. Yeah.
Dan in the chat says, Michael, you were not at the game. This is true. This is absolutely true.
If you and I could have been at the game,
we would have been at the game.
We would have been at the game.
Yeah, we would have been at the game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through the box score a little bit more here. Talking about USC's defense. Without looking up the numbers, I don't know if you have the numbers in front of you. Do you want to guess who SC's leading tacklers were in this game?
Oh, I don't have the leading tacklers up in this game.
Take a guess.
I'm gonna go with someone like Christian Pierce, maybe Bishop.
Tied for first.
Okay.
7. With Desmond Stevens at 7.
I was gonna guess Stevens as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna start from the top and work down.
Okay.
So these are the dudes with the most. Stevens, Pierce, Lucas, Nicholson, Walker, Urlacher, Abasiri, and then you get to Crawford, Gentry, Ramsey. there are a lot of dudes on that list that you would not expect to be the leading tacklers. But I think just further emphasizes how much of a gritty win it was. You know, we talked about like Kamari Ramsey not being in there, but like Bishop Fitzgerald going out, Kennedy Urlacher, he gets a pass breakup, 5 tackles. This also was a game in which SC did not record a single tackle for loss. There was no sack. There wasn't a single negative play.
Well, that's rough though, because Anthony Lucas does the strip fumble, which is a sack, but it's wiped away by a penalty on Anthony Beavers, who was not on the field. So who knows what that was about? My guess is it was like against Bishop Fitzgerald, and they said 15 and got 15 and 19 mixed up. But either way, that was funny.
Yeah, it's just like all the dudes sort of pitching in. It's kind of the opposite of the offense, which is the offense is your star dudes, your star danger men, Lane and Lemon, doing all the work. Let's talk about USC on the ground in this game. King Miller, 19 carries, 83 yards, averaged 4.4 yards per carry. Not a huge, great, incredible game that you're going to write home to your kids about, I guess. His
best run got called back for an illegal man downfield. For a hold.
But 19 carries, 83 yards, you'll take that any day of the week.
He just runs
like if that's
so
your boring
pretty.
game, you absolutely sign me up for that.
He has the same boring game that Moulton has, in the sense of like you just see what an effective runner he is.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if the productivity is somewhat limited. Like I said, his best run gets wiped out for penalties, so I think that's a little tough. Mm-hmm. But it's just it's the eye test. It's the way he passes the eye test. Every time I watch him play, I think to myself, how was he a walk-on? How did everyone miss this? Mm-hmm. How did he not have scholarship offers flooding his mailbox like frickin' Hogwarts letters in the first Harry Potter book? Like, I don't understand it, because he just looks like such a naturally gifted runner. Yeah, it is astounding. It's just been awesome to see, and I think he was at that level again, regardless of whether he's averaging 4 yards a carry or 7, regardless of whether he's getting 83 yards or 150. He looks like the same running back, just that quality. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Jackson, 4 carries, 14 yards, 2 touchdowns. His 2 touchdowns were just aces at the goal line. One of them, a Wildcat quarterback power. That was Wildcat quarterback power right up the.
Okay, we have to discuss. I don't think it matters, because I don't know that USC did another one, and I think we needed 2 trick plays, right? Is the Wildcat?
We talked about that a Wildcat where you're just running in the middle of the field is not a trick play.
No, but if you're a Wildcat with Mayava out on the wing.
That's what Wildcats are.
I know, but I think
the element that would make it interesting is that they
motioned out. They motioned into it.
Yes, they moved into it. Yeah. Yes. I think you could also make an argument there was the non-trick play in the game where it was the fake reverse. In the first half. Is a fake reverse a trick play?
I don't know. Certainly it wasn't a fake punt, but but I do want to call out the touchdown on the Wildcat. The way that Brian Jackson took that shotgun snap, on first look, I thought, wow, he looked really uncomfortable catching that. Mm-hmm. And then on the replay, it's actually super satisfying, because he catches the shotgun snap into his arm, immediately into a hold. Yeah. It was just I don't know. I was randomly mesmerized by it.
So before the snap, before they sort of, motioned into it, it was very interesting, because his body language is kind of weird. I'm he's very upright, which they do now with the running backs, but he's also sort of twitchy. It was a weird thing. I need to go rewatch it and make sure that I'm not just misremembering this. But like he looked a little funny, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's getting ready to go in the Wildcat, and then just took it right up the chute there, and scored. And then his touchdown, as a true running back, was very similar. Just got the ball,
patient, find the hole, barrel down,
got into the end zone, did his job. 2 touchdowns for him on 4 carries. That's a good percentage. Jaden Mayava as a runner, very effective this afternoon.
Keepers were big.
Yeah, he had a 20-yard keeper in the first half. In the second quarter, that was huge. Just ran down the sideline. I do wish he would slide. Or maybe get out of bounds. You can set.
It's almost like
you picked up the first down. You don't need to pick up the last 4 yards and drop your shoulder into it. Just go out of bounds.
It's almost like he's feeding into the perception of like the quarterback who forced the fumble out of the back of the end zone thing. Like now he's just got to go like full freaking. Who was the Fresno State quarterback? Jake Haener. Like you just got to go full Jake Haener.
Yeah.
It's like okay, Jaden, we want you to run more often. Having said that, we also want you to not blow out your shoulder.
Who was the UCLA quarterback that would take a million hits? Cohen?
All of them, but yes.
He was the one that Malaluga popped, and then he immediately true badass moment. Like first of all, it's a crazy hit today in 2025.
Oh, that would have been like
but the Malaluga hit
unnecessary roughness or something. They would have decided something that was wrong with that hit.
But the Malaluga hit incredible at the time with what we knew about sports, right?
Yeah.
But like he pops up like nothing happened, and it's like there's a little bit of that from Mayava. Like he's got the sort of Jake Plummer thing where he's just gonna do it. He's just gonna do it. He had a couple other keepers.
Just enough to keep the defense honest.
Yeah, exactly. They kept the defense honest there. And I thought the offense looked especially good in the second half, like we mentioned. Any other things you want to sort of touch on?
We touched on Mekhi Lemon being insane. I think Jacoby Lane he had his customary first quarter drop that drives me crazy.
Just warming you up.
But from that point on, dude was impeccable. Both with the catches that he made, mm-hmm. and flags that he drew, and even when he didn't draw the flags, I just thought he was playing everything right, giving himself a chance, giving Mayava a chance,
mm-hmm.
And putting it in the ref's hands, like that fade into the end zone when USC has to settle for a field goal. I think he does just about everything right there. On another day, he gets a flag. Really outstanding game from Lane and Lemon. When they're on like that, like mm-hmm. I don't know how you stop USC's offense. I don't know how you stop when they're making the catches that they made today.
Especially since like I feel like every catch they had in this game was a catch where I'm just what?
Yeah.
Caught that?
Yeah.
Every single one.
And it sucks for Lane because Lemon has so many like, are you freaking kidding me catches?
They both
But
do.
like Jacoby was making tough catches in this game. It just this is what having 2 elite receivers
mm-hmm.
looks like. It makes such a difference in a rain game. It's how you put up 254 yards of passing, because your receivers are just otherworldly. It's crazy.
Yeah. 100%.
I also wanted to highlight, like, I know I already said it, but I thought this was one of Anthony Lucas's better games. And again, like proof of my thing with USC's edges, I want them to get more sacks. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely do think they need to get more sacks, but I don't know that sacks are the end all be all of proof that you had a good game, from a defensive perspective off of the edge. Like I think what we saw from Anthony Lucas today, creating pressure, getting into, limiting the gains on the ground when he had the opportunity to. Like those are really, really important contributions. I think it sort of mirrors Iowa's what's his name, Llewellyn or
Llewellyn.
Like
a guy who can make an impact without getting a productive
You don't have to be on the
play.
stat sheet to make an impact. I think that's what I would like to continue to see from a veteran like Anthony Lucas to keep making that impact. Jaden Walker deserves a shout out. USC was running with that 3 linebacker look.
Yeah,
a lot. I thought he was, I think did a pretty good job out there.
Yeah, I want to go back to the receivers really quick here. A couple of points that I meant to make. Sid Irish in the chat says Lemon's the top wide receiver not named Jeremiah Smith. I think he definitely made the point for that. I said a couple of weeks ago that I thought his Biletnikoff chances were done and dusted after Leonard Moore just completely sort of locked him up in South Bend.
Everyone's Biletnikoff chances are done and dusted though when you've got
but like Lemon the last 2 weeks, 250-yard games, absolutely back in it, especially in a game like this, which even though it was on BTN, like this was the game everybody was watching. So like I think that helps majorly. But like Leonard Moore looks even better when Mekhi Lemon has games like this, and that it's sort of jarring how much he was sort of shut down in South Bend that way. And then the other thing I want to mention about the wide receivers going up and getting those catches is how much it helps Jaden Mayava. I thought this was a game in the rain. This is a quarterback who we know is a gunslinger. He's going to take chances. He's going to sometimes take too many chances, sometimes make a decision that you might call boneheaded if it doesn't go your way. But he's going to be aggressive. And I thought he had a fantastic game. Didn't make the crucial error at all. But having those 2 receivers that will catch anything in the radius makes it so much easier for Mayava. The number of times that he attempted passes that were audacious in this, not necessarily in the sense of this is the greatest pass in the world that you've ever seen, that he's finding just one little spot, but more so I'm just going to trust that these dudes are going to make the catch. And that makes it easier on him. He doesn't have to throw the perfect pass.
No.
And the times when he does, it just makes it even better for the receivers to be able to make a catch with dudes draped all over them. And it doesn't matter how many times Mekhi Lemon is being in triple coverage and still going to catch the ball or whatever.
I think that he gives his really good receivers the chance to make really good receiver plays. Yeah. And that's kind of underrated. I think, in Caleb Williams' second year, I think that was a complaint we had about Caleb, is that he was almost trying to be too perfect and not just putting the ball up for frickin' Brendan Rice. Yeah. I think just throw it up to Brendan Rice and see what happens. I think that Mayava is willing to do that with Lane and Lemon, and he gets rewarded for it.
There's also a difference here in that this isn't the offense that SC had in 2018 with...
This is not YOLO ball in the slightest.
No, it's not YOLO ball with JT Daniels just trying to get the PI offense. And as great as Michael Pittman was at that, and it's not 2019, the YOLO game with Matt Fink, the greatest USC wide receiver core ever, Michael Pittman and Drake London and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tyler Vaughns and all those guys. All those dudes could go up and catch a ball. Absolutely. This seems less about these are less alley-oops, and they're more so putting the ball in a spot that they can go up and make the play, but also is not just absolute desperation. Mayava will make those desperation throws.
He had
but not every single play is that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe this is splitting hairs here, but it just feels different. It just feels way more high percentage, even though some of these catches had no business being caught.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There were a couple moments in this game where Maeva was throwing off his back foot and just sort of lobbing it up, and I think that in those cases, I think the receivers don't necessarily bail him out, but like make it look less insane for him to be, chucking it like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen that often. I agree with you. I think more often than not, he's putting it somewhere where if you're going to make a spectacular catch, it's there for you. Otherwise, no one's catching that ball.
Yeah.
And he's got receivers who make spectacular catches, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
There's a discussion in the chat about Mackay versus Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. Mackay, I believe, has passed. He was already ahead of Jeremiah Smith in receiving yards. With what did he ended with 153 today, so he's up over 1,000. Jeremiah Smith had 40 yards today, so he's still not. He's at like 900, and Mackay now has more receptions than him as well.
Yeah.
But he
think
trails in touchdowns.
I think it's interesting. Like Ohio State's schedule is, they haven't had a lot of marquee games. They played Texas early on,
They're
but
such
like
a weird team.
That almost feels like a different season.
Yeah,
it was so long ago. The Penn State game meant nothing. They're gonna have the Michigan game, obviously. They're gonna have the Big Ten championship game, assuming that they win the Michigan game.
Right, but okay, what's their toughest game? What there are two potential games that we could talk about what their toughest games were.
I guess
and it's Illinois and Washington. Like that's it.
Yeah, I guess where I'm going with this is like I think Lemon has had a lot of big moments, and I don't know how much of this is just because we watch every game. But like I feel just like I haven't seen a lot of Jeremiah Smith this year, in part because they haven't played a lot of games that is appointment television. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so like maybe that helps Lemon in a case, but also there's absolutely a world in which Jeremiah Smith wins the Blitnikoff because of what he did in Pasadena. You know what I mean? Like we all know how good he is. That helps.
I will go out on a limb here and say that my Lemon's performance today against Iowa's defense is more impressive than anything we have seen from Jeremiah Smith this season. And that's no shade at Jeremiah Smith. It's just he hasn't played a lot of really great defenses.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had like his big performances weren't against the better defenses on his schedule. So
yeah,
like in that sense, Lemon almost makes up for the quote unquote dud against Notre Dame, which
he still had 76 yards.
He still had 76 yards, and that was still a game.
He still had 76 yards. A lot of that on the play right before the other play.
Right.
But like I think that like if you're someone who didn't watch the Notre Dame game, you could look at those stats and not think that he was necessarily held down by Leonard Moore the way that he was.
Yes.
Let's get to Super Chats. All right. The first one that we got that we haven't read yet was we got Toki Peas, and then the other one was Justin that says, "We believe, fight on."
Michael believes.
No, okay.
Michael was in our group chat talking about how he's not worried. I was certainly worried. So.
I'm telling you, I was in this. There was one time that I got a little heebie-jeebies about SC's chances, and that was the last drive that Iowa had. The catch from Caden Weegan was incredible. I feel bad for the kid that his toenail was out of bounds.
Yeah.
It was a hell of an effort, and I think that he's like a hell of a player. That was the only time I got a little nervous, in part because that was the one drive we had to be subjected to the StatCast kind of thing, and like not knowing what was going on.
It was unnerving, yes.
Yes. But other than that, I felt good about SC's chances to come back, and they did. And then the other super chat we got was Tim in LA that says, "Too tired for witty comment. Welcome back, fight on, and beat the Ducks." Thank you guys. We appreciate you. Couldn't do this without you, as always. To go back to Justin's thing about We Believe, I was having this conversation with you. And we're going to talk about this a lot in the next couple of podcasts, right? Going into the Oregon game. My head, my brain, my logical side, which I feel like I'm a logical person, says that SC's not winning in Eugene next week. But like the romantic side of me is like, you look back at like some of the iconic games in my lifetime where SC has won a huge November game to validate their season or like prove how good they are or how good they can be. Some of those aren't even in November. Like I've always talked about 2002 against Oregon. That's an October game. That validates that SC is legitimate to going into Eugene, and Carson Palmer throws for 448 passing yards. That's a USC passing record. That proved that like SC was really damn good. 2007 was a season that everything has sort of gone to hell. SC loses to Stanford. SC then loses to Oregon on the road. I had a teacher, a professor. I was a freshman at El Camino before I transferred to SC, and a professor who was a huge SC fan, and like we would talk about SC games like before and after class. She was so upset, and like she told me we're gonna go to the effing Holiday Bowl because of what SC was doing in 2007. Thanksgiving comes around, SC goes to Tempe, and Jigglebags a really, really good ASU team. I think Rudy Carpenter still has bruises from that night. That is a game that validates SC on the road, and then you're feeling like, yeah, they can beat anybody. Like you know what I mean? It energizes you. Of course, you talk about 2011. SC goes up to Eugene, beats Oregon, validates that season, right? 2016, we talked all second half of the season, basically, after the 1-3 start. Yeah, well, you know, SC's only actually good if they beat Washington, but that's not going to happen. They did. They went into Husky Stadium and they beat him. You can even say 3 years ago, 2022, there's like clips of the pod of us saying, you know what, I think SC is actually overrated. We said this in like early November in 2022.
Part of that was because the way that polls work, if you keep winning, then you simply rise, and if too many teams in front of you lose, like you will get. Well,
no, but I'm not talking about the ranking specifically. Like we were talking about how like the defense gave up 43 points at Utah. They gave up 36 to Arizona on the road.
They really struggled with Oregon State.
Yeah, like all those kind of things, and like, well, they're gonna have to beat UCLA to sort of prove how good they are. They did. And so
and
like
Notre Dame, yeah,
and Notre Dame. So like, all the logic says that SC goes into Eugene next week, plays a really good Eugene Ducks, a really good Oregon Ducks team, and even if they play well, the odds are against them, and that maybe it ends up looking like the Notre Dame game in which They play well in areas. It's a game in which you could kick yourself and say that you could have been in it, you could have won it, but it's also a game in which they just don't win. Like maybe it's one of those. And then there's the other side. 2011, 2016. You never know.
I fear that a no football reasons is coming down the line.
No. I don't think I don't think this is a no football reasons kind of game.
Okay.
Because I think there are football reasons for why SC would give them trouble. So I don't think it's that. I think that the football reasons are on Oregon's
USC's
side.
offense will give most teams trouble. The reason that I'm not gonna put my faith in USC to win this game is because USC's offense at home,
yes,
I trust. USC's offense on the road,
yeah.
I do not trust, and so therefore I'm going to assume that USC will not score the number of points that they would need to. Like USC needs to win a shootout against Oregon, where they are capable of scoring 35 plus points, and I don't see that from USC on the road.
I think SC's capable of that even on the road.
When have they done that?
They scored 33 at Purdue.
They scored 33 at Purdue, Michael.
They scored 32 in Illinois.
Purdue and Illinois are your examples of USC's.
Illinois they whatever. We can discuss this later.
We will discuss it.
Before we go, two things before we head out of here. Randy in the chat says, I have a confession. I haven't missed a USC game since September of 1965. But I've never been to a game in person. Does that make me a casual fan?
No.
Now, I think
not.
I think this is one that there's nuance here, right? Like when we say we wish that the Coliseum was sold out, we wish that SC had the fervor that they have in Iowa City or Salt Lake City or insert SEC town here, Columbia, Missouri. Wherever you want to say it, like where they show up every single week and all that kind of stuff. As much as I say that, just because you are not as they would say in the UK, a match-going fan, doesn't make you any lesser. You know what I mean? Like if you live and die with every play, and you have never been to a game, like you are not any lesser.
No.
My issue with my frustration are
there's a lot of folks with season tickets who opt out.
Yes.
Very often.
Yes.
Is where I'm.
That would be more my frustration. Or, and this isn't my frustration necessarily with those fans specifically, but like that situations have gotten to allow people to choose other things instead of SC. You know what I mean? Like SC is not giving them enough reasons to pick SC over Rams tickets.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like those are the things. Like people who are already going. You know what I mean? Like if you're someone who watches every game and has never been to the Coliseum, like that doesn't make you any less of a fan.
No.
No. If you pick and choose when you're going to use your season tickets, like I might be a little frustrated with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's nuance here.
Can I address an accusation in the chat that annoys the shit out of me?
What?
Halfbreed 7208 says, Alicia, you've been hating on the Trojans ever since Lincoln Riley got here. Now you smile when they win here and there. You are not a real family of Troy. Michael, you've always been a true man of Troy. You see how she's hating on the Trojans. I told you, dude, I'm telling you, this chick is way out. She's having personal issues, identity crisis of who she is. I am having an identity crisis 90% of the time. This is big facts. But also, like, can we not do revisionist history? Can we not?
Yeah, like
please?
Like the canon of the show is everyone loves you and hates me.
Well, yeah, I mean that's true.
Honestly, last week was the first time that I'd ever seen people be like, Michael's making such great points. It was so cool. Like
you loved that.
I loved it. Yeah.
No, I just think it's insane the revisionist history that goes on when I went into the 2024 season telling my coworkers, going on podcasts with other teams, with neutrals, all of that kind of stuff, telling them that USC was massively underrated and would be a potentially 11-win team. Like, that was me going into the 2024 season. In 2022, I was not hating on Lincoln Riley. In 2023, I was not hating on Lincoln Riley. Like, I was defending Lincoln Riley up through the Penn State game. If you want to pinpoint the point at which I gave up on Lincoln Riley, I will tell you it was October 19th, 2024, when USC lost to Maryland. That's the game that broke me.
But this is when I step in here and say that like the issue last year was SC was winning games that they had no business losing. They have not done that this year.
Yeah.
They've not done that this year. They lost to a better team in Notre Dame.
They shouldn't have lost.
And they lost a game in which they had no defense that was at a field goal at the end in a game that they roared back to take the lead late.
I take issue with the fact that they had no defense personally, but
yes, but I'm saying the Illinois game is not the Maryland game. You know what I mean?
No. Yes, because
that's what I'm saying.
Because the Purdue is the Maryland game.
Yes,
if
and SC won that game by 16 points.
Yes. No, exactly. I 100%. USC has improved drastically from last season. I would say that quarterback play has improved drastically from last season. I would say that running back, no, because the running back's always been good, but I think that USC's reliance on the run game has improved from like a Lincoln Riley perspective, because USC has always had capable backs. And I think the big difference since the Illinois game, the reason that USC has gone 3-1 in these last 4 games is because USC's defense has turned a corner, certainly a second half corner. I would like them to turn an overall corner, but the corner that they have turned in the second half has been so distinct that it has changed the sort of change the possibilities for what this season can be, because we always knew USC's offense was going to be really damn good, and they have been really damn good. But it's like USC's ability to compete at a higher level very much comes down to what does the defense do, and then the little, can USC's offense find a way to play more mistake-free on the road question, which is going to be put to the test next week.
Yeah. Paul in LA says, Rotometer? The link is in the chat, folks. The link is in the chat. Go click at the very top of the chat or the description. We can just do a full Rotometer segment in the Fallout episode, but Alicia, without maybe putting your total influence on how people vote in the Rotometer.
Where was I last week?
I don't know, but I feel like you're probably like a 3 now. Are you up from a 2?
I know. I'm pretty sure I was like a 5 or a 5.5. I may have even gone 6. I think I went 5.5 last week. I will put it up to I'll go 7.
Okay.
This was a really good win. Like I said, in all aspects, like it was a really good win to bounce back from what was a really not great start. But it's how you finish, not how you start. So yeah, I'll go up to a 7. I think that considering where I might have been going into the Oregon game, as far as like my percentage chance thought that USC could potentially win that game, it has improved every week. Just slightly, but the most improvement came this week. So I still don't think USC is going to beat Oregon at Autzen for a variety of reasons, but I am now closer to where like you could convince me that on Saturday night we will be talking a lot about 2016.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I'm feeling really good about this team, in part because obviously you want the team to win national championships and all that stuff, but like I'm not saying that I don't want that's not the overall ginormous big picture thing. Because yes, of course that's what the standard is in general. Yes. But like the first ask I had going into the season was, show me you can be a chalk team. Show me you can win every game that you're supposed to win. And in the games that you lose, They're understandable college football losses, or they're against really good teams, whatever it is.
They're not egregious like losing to Maryland.
They're not egregious like losing to Maryland.
They're not
you know what I mean?
incredibly frustrating like losing to a Washington team they should have beaten.
SC's 2 losses on the road, a field goal against the team that was ranked, which is what college football teams do. They lose to teams that were ranked on the road by late field goals. That happens.
Yeah.
And to a top 5 Notre Dame team.
Notre Dame game's a 10-point loss, but like that game was.
The game was not 10 point.
It was in the balance for most of.
And like, not that those games are okay in like, this is not what I'm saying, but like, when you are coming off of a season in which you went 7-5 and 6-6 in the regular season, you have to prove to me that you can cross the I's and not the T's before you do anything else.
Well, that's why 9
this season
9 and 3
has shown that they can do that. And
9 and 3 is sort of the standard for that, where you're probably going to have like 1 or 2 games every season that, unless you're an elite team, you're probably going to lose them. So your Notre Dame's top 5 Notre Dame's or Oregon's, whatever, and then 9 and 3 sort of builds in the you get 1.
Yeah.
This was Pete Carroll's MO. Pete Carroll always got 1. That didn't mean like he was still an incredible head coach and had really great teams at USC. Yeah. But he was always good for 1 because that's simply college football. Like college football there's always going to be 1. So like in that sense, yeah, I can forgive a 1. It's just it needs to stay at a 1 and not be, a 2 or a 3 or a 4 like it was last year. We do need to wrap up because I don't want our neighbors to get woken up by or disturbed by.
I am very frustrated
by the dog who is currently howling in his crate. But there was a question about the Oregon game. Game time has been set for 12:30 on CBS, and there was a question about what the weather for the Oregon game is. Current 10-day forecast for Saturday the 22nd is 55, considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers, high of 55, winds light and variable, chance of rain 50%.
It sounds like Eugene in November to me.
Every single day of the 10-day forecast is literally showers, 50% chance of rain.
Yeah. I think Rome already said earlier that the dogs are happy to see us. They were very happy to see us.
They were extremely happy to see us.
I am very happy to see them.
Yeah.
Badger decided that our little scheme to get us through episodes the last couple of weeks wasn't going to work tonight.
Well, he's too excited.
He is too excited.
He didn't want to go back in his crate.
So if you've been hearing him bark in the other room, we apologize. But hey, he wasn't barking right here in front of the mic at least.
This is true.
Yeah. We did all the things that were working before. We did the white noise.
To be fair,
in the middle of the pod, I went over and gave him a bully stick. He didn't want that.
The white noise, bully stick, etc., has worked on days where he's gotten a nice long walk, and because of our travel, and we just had friends pop in to take care of the pups and everything. Like, I don't think he got like a considerable walk. So.
All right, we'll be back Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. As always, normal schedule here on out, fellas and ladies. I not going to say what I almost said because caught myself, but there we go. Brendan says that's so nice. Y'all are married. Not anymore. We're divorced actually. Yeah.
No. What kind of dog? We have a border collie and a let's call him a lab mutt. Badger is allegedly lab, pit bull, Pyrenees,
and
Australian Shepherd.
If you ask me
etc.
What is Badger? He's an Australian sheepdog mixed with the Pyrenees with elements of a pitbull, but I'm not going to call him that.
He's got the body of a lab with the coloration of an Australian Shepherd and the protective instincts of a Pyrenees. Yeah. Hence the barking.
Yes. But he looks like a Australian sheepdog or a blue heeler or whatever you want to call it. His
forehead is kind of broad like a pit bull.
Yeah, and someone's going to jump in here and say, actually, there's a difference between an Australian sheepdog and a blue heeler. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. We will be back Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. We have been traveling since 4 a.m. Pacific. We need to go to sleep.
I am ready to go to sleep.
Yes. So, all right. We will be back then. Until then, go hit the link. Do the RoTometer. Do your RoTometer. Call into the Rant Line, 818-643-7227. Send us your emails, all that kind of stuff. Until then, we will see you.
See ya.
See ya.